Hey everybody, welcome to PDQ Live. We're doing PDQ A this week because it was Patch Tuesday, and there was some big news on Patch Tuesday. 0 previously or known or exploited patches closed this month. That's been a long time since we've seen that, so I was excited about that. But overall, 74 total exploits closed, 5 critical, 6 if you listen to other people, but I go by what's on Microsoft's site. They've never lied to me before.
I only listen to you.
Enough of the Patch Tuesday junk. Let's go on to some questions.
Let's do it. We don't care about
Unless there was something really, urgent in Patch Tuesday.
None of them were real terrible this month. It wasn't a great month, but it wasn't bad.
Okay. Well, this is PDQ A, so get your questions in. You can post them there in chat. Just preface it with the word question. Just makes it easier for us to find them. But if you guys are ready, we can dive in.
Let's do this.
Okay, here we go. Is more detailed visibility into connected peripherals on the roadmap would be great with PDQ Connect too. I'd like to see what keyboard/mice are connected so my team knows if end users are bringing in questionable Chinese devices they bought on Wish. Alan K.
All right, so
you had so much fun with this question.
first of all, I want to say thank you for sending this in early, because if I get this question without any prep, my answer is it's probably stored somewhere in WMI, get some instances of PowerShell, which gets a start, but it is not what we're looking for. By sending it in early, I got to spend a lot of time on it, and I had a blast.
You did. You were so excited.
All right, so I guess the first part for tracking it down is get some instance. That remains the same. That's why I would have gone with it as the short-term answer. But that gives you some rough details, but what he's looking for requires a little bit more. So I kind of did a dive into that one. The first part for WMI, there are locations for, I think it's Win32 underscore pointing devices and Win32 underscore keyboard are where those are stored. So if we connect to my computer here, did I put an extra dot? Yes, I did. Couldn't see it from that far away.
I know, I can barely see it.
So SimV2, if you fill that one out, it's because I need to include all of my classes. So Win32 is going to be in here. If you go through and find it, you can find the exact one you're looking for, and you can say build query. There's a button for that, and it'll PowerShell. I think that's how you can find it. But it doesn't give all the information you're looking for. So what I ended up doing was I messed with PowerShell a little bit. So the first part was getting some instance. Spoiler alert, I may have typed this out earlier. So it's get some instance, and then it's Win32 keyboard, and then I'm piping that into get PNP device property with the key name that returns it. So we are all virtual machines on this one, so we don't really have anything USB plugged in.
Because we can't.
So I do have some examples on that one. So the reason I started off with get some instance instead of get PNP device to pipe it into is PNP device returns everything that is USB, but there's no real identifier if it's a keyboard or a mouse. Where in this case, we want those particular. So I use get some instance because I can get more granular, looking for what I want, and then I can grab and from there pipe it into, and I can get the property I'm looking for. So obviously with virtual, not great.
Yeah.
But I did grab it on my own personal computer. If we go, I'm going to pull up a screenshot I took. So I ran this one and I specified USB, as you can see on that one, where I was matches USB. So if it's HUD or HID, I believe, that usually is a Bluetooth device or it's something that's built in. But USB is one I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I come in here with gaming mouse G502. So that is...
You have a gaming mouse?
Absolutely.
I mean, duh. Why'd I ask that question? Okay, go ahead.
So... That one is there. So this does help you track down what you're looking for. It does grab some useful information, but you can run into some problems where this data is completely dependent on the manufacturer of the hardware. So my keyboard is a custom one we ordered that has the PDQ logo on it.
Of course.
Well, and the data for that one is USB keyboard.
Oh, okay.
So we can dive in and grab more information, but whatever data returns there is dependent on what the manufacturer puts in there.
Okay.
So it helps a lot, like especially with the more well-knowns like Logitech or that, they're going to be more detailed. So if you see something like this, it might be a key indicator that there's something you may want to go look at. And if you get 2 results back, that means there are 2 USB devices plugged in that it thinks are a keyboard, and you definitely want to go look at that.
You know to go research it.
Yeah.
So are we sharing this with them?
No, those
The
2
command?
scripts.
Or yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Where can they find it? Maybe Andrew can share it.
I didn't put it up anywhere, but yes, we can.
Because I'm guaranteeing you had it up for like 5 seconds. No one saw that. So maybe Andrew can share it in the details later.
What if you want 2 keyboards and go like NCIS style?
You probably do, but do you?
Freehand typing is how you stop hackers.
You don't want the end users to do that. So maybe just send it to Andrew and he can put it up there for them because they can't. I won't remember that.
All right. So I saw a follow up in there. How can we put that data into a custom field? If you could just build a PS custom object at the end of it. So you do that to grab the data, capture it as a variable. PS custom object to define where the results go into there. And then if you run that as like a PowerShell scanner inventory, it will return it.
Oh, okay.
Where I think this would get the most value, because I mean, like a USB keyboard is not good, but if you have a list of approved hardware and you know what those are, you could have this scanning and looking for devices that aren't on that approved list. Yeah. And you could do that to help trim it down. If you don't have a uniform set of hardware, it's just going to be kind of a best guess. If it is, the more vague it is, the more I'd be questioning it. But it's not a perfect answer, but I think it's a good start.
That's great. And I did look for you. So here's your answer. In Intune, you can turn off USB altogether. Stupid. I don't know why you would do that, but you can't. Intune's no help here. But in group policy, I did make you a group policy if you want to pull that up. You can be a lot more granular in group policy. So here's where it is. And you can, it basically functions as a block everything. And then you put in, just like you were saying, the hardware ID list that comes from the manufacturer. This is the group policy where you would go, when you hit show right there, that's where you would go put in the hardware ID. So that's my keyboard. I have a Lenovo.
So you used wildcards then?
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't use wildcards. I went into Device Manager and Properties, and then I put in my exact ID for my keyboard that I had. So if you're enterprise and you only use 5 keyboards and you only want to allow those 5 keyboards, you would go into that group policy and just list those IDs, and it will block everything else. Okay. So if you want to get extra crazy, you could do that.
Wildcards are going to be important on that because the instance ID will maintain through a reboot, but if someone unplugs and plugs it back in, the first part will be the same, but it puts a new unique identifier at the end.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So if you don't have wildcards at the end, every time they unplug or plug it back in, that identifier has a chance of changing.
Oh, so put that in there. Okay.
Yes.
Good call. Good.
All right. And one other thing I want to make, just to make sure I'm covering my bases here. On my computer, there is a registry key where you can see these informations, and the properties key, I don't have permission to view. So it may be running get some instance for people that have full admin rights. It pulls that in without me needing to do that type of deep dive. I just don't have the access to test that.
You're not an admin on your machine?
Apparently not.
Okay.
that was fun to learn. So, but I mean, if it does work or get some instance, that's great. I still had a blast finding a new way around it.
So you couldn't print this morning, and you're not an admin on a machine. And the best part is you're not going to say anything about it.
I don't care.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
All right. And thank you for sending that question in early. It made my day.
It did. He was
really
so happy.
did. He was
giddy. So happy.
Yeah.
All right.
You want another one that'll make you happy?
Let's do other questions, yeah.
All right, let's do this. Is it possible to PDQ deploy, I love the fact that that's, what, a verb, I guess, a volume licensed Adobe standard? If so, how?
Who has a volume license Adobe, like a really old one?
So it depends on what track you're on. If you're on the continuous track, that's going to be more like your cloud, where they do like named user licensing. So you build an account, you assign it when they log in. Yeah. It does all that. If you're on the classic account, it's more of the original one. Yeah. You don't get access to everything, but for some environments, that's actually good. So they do still have the key.
It's great.
Yeah, they do still have the key for that one. And there are 2 ways that I know of you could do it with deploy. And one of them is just typing out the MSI directly, or we'll just build a new package here. So it's going to be an install step, and I downloaded. I see now that it says standard, and because I am me, I did pro. But for most cases, it's the same. So we have the MSI in there for the install, and then you have down here the command line. And for that one, it is, and I'm actually going to read because I never remember it, ISX_serial number. I don't know if it's case sensitive. I just didn't want to mess with it. And then I don't have 8675309. I don't have an actual serial.
8675309.
So
nice, Jordan. Nice.
Unfortunately, I could not test this because I don't have a serial number for it, but their documentation says that you can include the serial number like that. There's another option with the install. I think I'm overthinking it. Put on the desktop here. Minimize all my screens. There's an INI file, the abcpy.ini. If you include that over with your deployment, right there, you can put the serial number in, and it should activate with the volume license that way.
That's amazing.
So everything I've read in documentation is that should work. I don't have a volume license to test. So try it out and let me know if it works. That'd be awesome.
I definitely don't have one that I could have given you.
Oh, do you have one, really?
No. I never would do that.
Another good call out for like any type of licensed software or whatever that you're trying to work with. It's oftentimes, if you can't get it running, it's a good idea to reach out to the software manufacturer and let them know, like, hey, here's what I'm dealing with. How do I get this installed? Because oftentimes their documentation isn't the best. I'm not saying that about Adobe, but just in general, the software manufacturer often has your answer.
For that one, it was not easy to find because they're so in on the named user licenses that everything on Classic just starts off with a blurb of this is discontinued in 2018. They try to make it, they're very hard to make it seem like it's not a valid path anymore.
Is Tim kidding? Because I want to cry right now because when they went away from volume licensing, I wanted to die.
So there's something freeing about just being able to control it from an admin console. Say you have this and log in. So in that case, and as far as ease of use, he is correct. That is easier.
Not in an enterprise when you're working for a broadcast company that's highly dependent on Adobe. Oh my gosh. It's so awful.
Yeah. So, and then he mentioned the Acrobat customization wizard. That one is also specific for continuous. Like there's a lot of tools on the continuous there. I assumed based on this one where he said volume licensing, he was on Classic. And so I looked into it and I think that is the solution.
I think that's a great solution. Oh, I'm so sad that I can't do that anymore. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yep. All right,
let's do more.
Okay.
How can we make registry edits remotely through PDQ Deploy? Amy G.
So I do PowerShell.
I'm shocked. What?
So in PowerShell, if things like the registry hive, you can just scroll through them like they're a regular drive, like a C drive. So if you do git dash, we'll say child item, HKLM for local machine. And then I don't see him. I'm in here either.
But, what happened? Are you in trouble?
So recently I did have some comical amount of access that recently I got messages like, hey, to use this? And I just gave a default no. Yeah, so Rachel is doing her job as security very well.
You're on the list.
So, but I had more access than I needed, so it's a process. It'll come back. Yeah. But so yeah, get child item there works. There's some caveats if you're using deploy, like if you're doing this remote. Local machine will just work as it is. If you're looking to do the current user, that one you're going to have to run it as logged on user against who is currently logged in. So someone has to be logged into it. You can do it against the user hive where you just load all the hives and mess with it. Wouldn't recommend that. It's very complex. It's a whole wall of PowerShell. Chris wrote it and I can barely read it. It goes deep.
Okay, so don't do that one. Gotcha.
So, but if you're looking for local user, you just have to run it as who is logged in, and then that it will mess with the logged in hive. And for local machine, you can just run it as is.
Okay.
Just know that any change you make on registry isn't going to show impact until the local machine reboot or user log out, log in.
Jeff or Jason saying group policy too.
Group policy is fantastic for that, and Jeff is correct. I did type my password live. I believe I was working here for 2 weeks.
Years ago. Did someone tell Rachel about that? Or
maybe.
What do you think?
I actually turned it into a joke in a later webcast where my password's in clear text in the script I wrote.
You gotta. Why not?
All right, we ready for another?
Let's do it.
All right. How do I sort the tools menu list in inventory alphabetically? Russell K.
See, I would ask that question.
So there is no Autosort. Oh, no. And the reason for it is you can add the dividing line like there, so you can set them in groups and Autosort with that. Makes it a little bit complicated. So you can drag and drop into the order you want. I know that's not the ideal, but Autosort for tools, unfortunately, is not something that's there. You can set it the way you want, and it will be there for you, but if you log into with different credentials, it will go back to the default.
So you just have to do it. If you're compulsive, you have to do it yourself.
Yep.
Dang it.
All right, here's a novel from Jason S. I would like to see a way to pull in all the deployments from X months back into a report to show auditors. Third-party updates are always a sticking point with our auditors, and being able to show them all the deployments we've done, including scheduled ones, would be awesome. Jason S.
Okay.
So some reports, Jordan.
Well, so the first part, before we get into the reports, if you go into deploy, how the history it keeps by default is 90 days. So if you were looking at longer than that, you're going to want to change this sooner than later.
How long can I have it?
I mean,
forever?
You can set it for as long as you want. Just know that we are using SQLite on this one, and larger databases are going to start causing problems.
Okay.
I mean, if you're in a smaller environment, you can go as far as you want, but if you've got thousands upon thousands of machines, going too far might cause problems.
Okay.
So it's a trial and error before we get there, but by default it's 90 days.
So change that.
Yep. And where that is stored is, if we go to Bugs Bunny, there's actually
You
just a
always
table
love
here.
Bugs Bunny.
It's my go-to.
I know.
Right there. This is the list of deployments you have for the 90 days. After 90 days, we'll start removing them. But you absolutely, in inventory, can build a report or a collection based on that. It is a table you can just call on. So we're going to try this one live, because that never goes poorly for me.
It doesn't. Let's do it.
All right, so it's not going to be a computer. What do you think? Is there a deployment? There is a deployment?
Oh, Tim's already had problems with that. A lot of devices, deployment history too long, database performance issues.
Okay, yeah, so it's one of the, so 90 days by default seems to work, but be careful if you're expanding it out. So based on the deployment, go ahead.
I have a good workaround for that limitation on the 90 days. I think that using less than 90 days is a good idea, but what you're going to show here, you're creating a report. And one cool feature is auto reports, where every single month or every single 2 weeks, you could run an auto report that outputs to a unique CSV, and then you can have a historical database, so to speak, of reports that run for a year or 2 years or however long, one for every 2 weeks, for example, that you can give to auditors, or you can use some PowerShell to combine them, all kinds of cool stuff.
Lex actually made a video about that. I watched it.
So he says I'm building that report, but here I am not building that report. I know there's a table for it in here. Deployment didn't seem to be the one I was looking for.
Yeah, if we weren't live, I'd have it right on the tip of my tongue, but I'm in the same boat as you. It's like, what is it again?
So the fact that it's a table in there means there is a report in here. Unfortunately, this is a failure on my part. I even saw this one earlier. It's like, you know what? I'm going to do it live.
There is an exact video on this because I just watched it.
Okay.
So we could find it and put it in the description, because Lex did this exact same thing. As soon as Andrew started talking, I was like, oh yeah, Lex talked about that.
Go, Andrew, go.
To save it and send it to the auditors.
Try package name, though. Did you already select that?
Oh, now he wants to do it. He's like, we're not quitting. There's no quitting here.
The packaging would be based on the package, not necessarily the computer, or I don't know. I guess we can come into the other one and do, what do you want? Computer name. See that one. All right, so there we go. There's the Discord install. So this one's not given the date so much.
But you just pull in more stuff that you want, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to just modify the report. So this one does have the list of the reports, but going down for the date that's deployed and everything, you can absolutely build that report. I just feel like watching me struggle through the session.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is a good starting point, but anymore, I don't think we're going to get any value other than fuel for making fun of me, and I've got a fragile eagle.
That's always fun. But you like what he said and do the auto reports.
Yes, the auto report and put it into a CSV would be a good way if you don't want to extend the days that it keeps.
Plus less work.
We're all about less work.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. A few years ago, PDQ had an agent. Do you have any plans to get it back? Interesting for supporting devices over internet. Anatoly C.
Can I answer this?
Absolutely.
There's no plans. Connect.
PDQ Connect.
So the agent that we built for deploying inventory worked for some people, but it was a constant struggle session. We pulled the plug because it wasn't up to the standards that we have for our product. Because deploying inventory by their nature was built to be agentless, it was one of the main drawing points. And so shoehorning the agent didn't work the way we're hoping. Connect is the solution for that has the agent, and it works great.
It's so pretty.
Yep.
We love Connect.
It is
Yeah, it sounds like
awesome.
some people in chat haven't heard about PDQ Connect yet, so definitely check that out. Link in the chat.
Yeah, that is a fantastic one.
Did you do the videos? Are they up
We
there?
have a new demo coming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've shot it. It's not live yet.
You've shot. Okay.
Because here's the thing, the first demo we shot was, month and a half-ish ago, something like that. And we continue to add new features to PDQ Connect. And so we had added so much, it's time for a new demo.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's
There
good
you go.
stuff, good stuff.
Okay.
All right, new question. Recently purchased Smart Deploy. Any chance of you guys integrating PDQ and Smart Deploy together and making them a single product? Also, any chance of a client for deploying inventory by Sage? Can I take this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So
We're like, no, no, boss.
when you're talking about a client for deploying inventory, I think we just covered that. PDQ Connect is the way to go. But we have had people asking about Smart Deploy and PDQ integration, how to make the two work together. Is it going to be one product? Okay. So you're in luck because next week we are going to be doing a webcast devoted to how Smart Deploy and PDQ Deploy can work hand in hand. Okay, they can work very well together by focusing on their strengths, essentially. Smart Deploy, fantastic imaging. And if you're already a deploy user and you've got your packages built, we have a way that the two can just live together in harmony. It's going to be a beautiful
It's going to be amazing. So who's coming? Hanks and Austin?
Jason Hanks. Austin will be there. I think Mark Littlefield, our King Guru guy, is going to be on hand as well. So join us next week. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Really excited for it.
Okay, so Nad, I just made a video, and it's on the Smart Deploy channel, comparing SCCM to Smart Deploy. Seriously, I want all those hours of my life back learning about SCCM. Oh my gosh. Wow.
So SCCM does literally everything.
Everything, but it is
the issue
so
is because it does
hard.
everything, it's complex. It requires a full-time employee, and it also handles deployments in the same way group policy rolls out. It goes when it goes, which I do not care for.
There is so much that goes into setting that thing up. It is really hard, Jordan. Ridiculously hard to set up.
There's a lot to it, but if you need a tool that does everything and you have an employee you can dedicate to it full time, it is a nice tool.
Yeah.
But if you have limited resources and you just want something to work fast, I think elsewhere is the way to go.
You just said, fast. Okay, yeah. No, I don't even know. I was like perversely interested in it. I just kept watching. I'm like, but man, it looks hard. No question.
All right. Moving right along. Hey, folks, how can I schedule to send workstation inventory reports to different people monthly? Sincerely, Devendra.
It's auto reports, and they also covered that in Lex's video that I watched.
So if we go back to, I'm just going to go to reports here. Did I delete all my reports?
Oh, let's make a new one.
No, that's auto reports. Okay. So if instead of building a new report from scratch, if we come here, you can build a schedule to attach auto reports that you can define. Apparently I haven't built auto reports. So you can define auto reports where it's basically like building out a schedule where what time it kicks off, who it sends to.
Yep.
So all the reports you build, you can attach one to many as one. So if you want to use the same report to send out on different days, you just want to build more and more auto reports out and then attach the reports you want, and then you can change the recipient at that time. So I'm actually going to go to auto reports and hit new instead of just going over it. So right here is where you do the name, define everything, the
So
format.
if I do like patching, this is who I patched this week. I'm going to send it to Rachel.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is where the file name, if you just want to send an email and not a file, you can do that, or you can overwrite the existing file. Trigger, this is where you set it to run. This is where email, and you do have to set up email within our preferences to make sure that's working. But you can send who that sends to there.
Yep, and I
change
can
the
say,
title there. And
Rachel,
then
give me my gold star. Here's all my patches.
And then you can attach the reports there. So you can build as many of these as you want, and you can reattach already used reports if it works that way. So if that is a good way. Just it'll take a bit to set up, knowing what goes where. But once you have that, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
The day you want it will go to the people you want it to.
Awesome. I love that.
All right. We're going to have to almost jump into speed round territory. We have quite a few questions still in the queue. So let's do this. Is anyone else having trouble with Adobe Reader DC patch 23 blah blah nerd? Most of my machines are failing with MSI error 1642. Program being patched is not installed. Sincerely, WF.
So I saw this one in chat, and you later included the GUIDs that are and are not updating. For that one, if it's behaving, because someone agreed they saw the exact same thing, please open up a ticket for us. Because that means something within the update's not working the way we expect it to. We should probably see if we can't capture that. But please open up a ticket, because if that's having a problem and it's happening to other people, either there's something wrong with the updater or there's something wrong with the way we uploaded it, and we need to get that fixed.
Yeah.
So open up a ticket, and we'll try to get it fixed, but it's not something I can troubleshoot from here.
It looks like Chad, the head of our package library, or package librarian, I should call him. He says, install the full package, then the patch will work going forward.
Okay, so you just have to do the full package the one time? Okay.
Thanks, Chad.
All right. There you go.
There you go.
Don't even need to open a ticket because Chad's here paying attention.
Chad
Way
is
to go,
on it.
Chad.
Yeah, so I guess just for this one time, do the full install, and then patching will go back to normal. There must have been something with a recent update that I'm not really within that discussion now. Adobe.
Can you tell I love Adobe?
Yeah. If we were keeping score today, Chad would have a point. How about that?
And then I like W's response there. Still going to open a ticket. Why did it break? That is absolutely worth it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next question. Is a deploy inventory client mobile app something that is technically feasible, and has it been considered? Jarrett L.
Wow, where's Jared? We need a big wig.
So the mobile app on that one, I don't know if it's being considered because it becomes kind of working with licensing where per admin. If it's something like a mobile app, then wants to stop someone from just throwing up a server where people can just log in and hit deploy at what point their licensing is breaking. So I have seen in the chats people that have built something like that, not necessarily a mobile app, but like a web portal, but it's not something that we would support. I don't know of any plans in the future.
Okay. Next question. Is there any API documentation for our developer to look at for simple MDM? Robert S.
Yes, there is. I shared it earlier in the chat, and I will reshare it now.
You are a sharing
There's
type
a lot
of guy.
of great documentation on that API, and it works pretty well.
All right, let's keep going. Speed round here. For the Connect roadmap, are there any desired timeframes associated with the roadmap plans, i.e. near, mid, and long term? James D. I actually have something from Mark and Jaron. I don't know if these are the type of details you're looking for, but near term is what we consider release something in the coming weeks. Mid would be in the coming months, and long term, no real time frame. But the key to this is we want your feedback because that helps us understand what our priorities ought to be, the best things to come out first. So if you're looking for an actual roadmap of feature sets, I don't really have that off the top of my head, but yes, that is how we block things out. And please, Connect users, give us your feedback because we want to make sure we're making and prioritizing the right things.
Kind of seems like Mark and Owen need to come back, huh?
Yeah, I think they will be.
A lot going on with that one. So real quick I know Andrew put the URL back in there, but for people that are listening that don't see the chat, it's going to be api.simplemdm.com. Should get you to the documentation on it.
All right. Next question. Is there a simple way to create a report of software that has been added since the last report? WF.
I hope his middle initial is T.
He needs to change it immediately, if not.
So a simple way, not so much, because every time I've done a dive into installed applications, or like I think I used the last time the file was updated or installed to see that one, but that's not always accurate. I've noticed with PowerShell, it doesn't always update the way you're expecting if you go and look at it.
Yeah.
So I can't think off the top of my head a simple way, but the best way to do it, I mean, the issue especially is what has been added since certain time.
Yeah.
Is you can't really do a comparison where we don't keep a history to keep the database small. You can't do a comparison of this was last week's scan, this is this week's scan. So it would have to be more of the report would have to be, you have to go out and find out new applications that were installed. They're based on grab all the application installed, sort by install date, and then set the report for less than whatever, 1 week or 3 months or whatever. And that should work, actually.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track there. You would do it, the filter would be based on the install date and time for the application, and then you would just run it, say, every 2 weeks, and then just grab all applications with an install date greater than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so I'm going to try winging it on reports because it went so well the first time.
Let's do it.
So let's see, I just basically grabbing applications and computers. So if I come into...
You went to a new computer. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
What am I don't even know what I'm doing here.
So maybe define report, and we'll add the little filter for the last 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, so group by column is how you can get the computer, but we need to actually see if we can't add a column in there. I know this is speed round. Sorry, Kelly.
Yeah, you're crushing the speed round, dude. Nice.
Yeah, install date and time. Look at that.
Yep.
If I start yelling at you, will that help?
Some
No.
questions just don't lend
All right, so
themselves to
we
speed.
group by this column so you can come in here, but you see you have this one based on application installed. So you just want to,
Sort. by that.
instead of doing a report, you could do like a collection or a report where you want to add just a collection for me, because that's where you could put in a qualifier of only look at the ones that are older than 2 weeks old.
Yeah, I would add a filter maybe on the define report, the filters tab.
Filter. Okay, so
No, I'm not trying. And then click the little orange thingy, boom. Yep, and then
look at that.
application.
We did it together.
We did.
What do we do?
I'm moving my mouse with yours. We're kind of holding hands.
This is amazing. Oh my gosh, you guys are so good.
Yeah, so yeah, you could do the relative date of what do we say? We'll
2
say
weeks. You said 2 weeks. 14 days, Jordan. 14. Do 14.
That's too many clicks. Okay, there you go.
14 days ago,
Yep. See if it works.
and then 6.5. It looks like that
job.
worked. Hey, we did it live.
It's magical.
So
Did it live.
apparently you can do it simple. I mean, you have to watch me flounder for a while,
It was
but here
amazing.
we are.
I loved it.
Yep. All right, other questions?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Any way of incorporating an exception list for certain PDQ deploy packages, or even globally, an example, list of PCs that should never be rebooted or never receive a certain patch, HC.
So the way I would go about this one is, and I think I highlighted this when I did Discord a little bit ago, is I would build, I mean, in this case, I'm going to do static just because I'm going to assume it's the machines you want. You
Yeah.
say never reboot.
They're never going to change. So, yep.
Never
No touchy. I like to say no touchy.
reboot. So this one's like reboot specific, but depending on what qualifications you want there, you put them there for a static thing, and then on your deployment that you want to have is a member of whatever group is getting that package, but is not a member of this
Exclusionary.
one, and that will automatically exclude those ones for things like reboots and of that nature. So it's just, you want to build a collection of the ones that are a special case and put them as a extra part of your filtering when it comes to
This is my target. This is my exclusionary. Okay, perfect. Speed round.
Next question. The uninstall feature of PDQ inventory doesn't seem to always work with applications installed in the HK user hive. Any suggestions how to uninstall, curse the app data folder? Kevin B.
Indeed.
So yeah, HK user means that is all users, not necessarily ones that are loaded in. This is a ongoing issue. We see it a lot with Apex packages.
I knew you were going to. I knew
It's
it.
because it's a great example.
Remember your rant?
So for that one, if it's not working in that case, you can set it to run as logged on user and it will log on for that one, not necessarily for everyone. So the best way around that I've seen, if you want to catch everyone, is you set it as a logon script to run the uninstall with that GUID. Every time someone logs into that computer, it will run the uninstall and be done with it. But with deploying inventory, you can get who's currently logged in, but without loading all of the unused hives, you can't get all of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, next question. Will you ever add the ability for us to add descriptions to our custom tools in inventory? WF.
Boy, that's a
The
bummer.
T
that
is
we
silent.
can't. Yeah.
He's going to hate us.
It's Wendy, and she is going to hate us. We love you,
so
Wendy. We
it's
really
the
do.
Wendy. Oh, Wendy. Thank
Yeah.
you, Wendy.
So I don't know the roadmap on that one. I do know.
We should just been like, nope, next.
Well, the problem is because a lot of the deployed inventory focus right now has been cleaning up tech debt. Because it is an older product, been around a long time, which I've heard rumblings for some people, they think that it's now in maintenance mode, which is not the case, but we are handling tech debt first before we move forward to add new things. So I don't want to say never, but I just don't have a roadmap for where something like that would be added.
Yeah.
Good answer. Next question. How to get a report of all PCs that have different config files when compared to a benchmark file and show the differences. EUSA.
Ooh.
So this is one that I'm not going to be able to build out because it would be a little bit complex.
You wanted this before. Yeah.
This would be, so in this case of the config file, if you want to make sure that it is all the same on the machine, what we basically have to do is you have to have an example of the default config you want, and then you have to have a script that goes in and pulls in a report from others. And then I would use PowerShell where you could, a couple of things, just assign them to a variable and do a comparison for the differences. And if there are differences, it would report back. But I mean, without knowing the config file or having the default, this would take a while to build out, but that's how you do it. Is you want to send over the blank config, or not the blank, but the default you want, load in the other one into a variable, assign both of them variables, do a comparison, and then if there are differences, spit that out as an object, and it would come back into your PowerShell scanner. Yeah. That's how it do it. There might be a better way, but that's the way I thought of instantly.
So next Q&A, these are the questions you liked before because you'd have an answer to that.
I absolutely going to build something.
He loves those questions. Send those ones early, you guys.
Okay, 4 more questions. Let's do this thing. Hang on. There we go. Is there any way of recovering a deleted PDQ package or previous version of a package? EUSA.
So if you have on the auto backup,
go get it from the back.
Yeah. I want to say is a database. Yeah, if you have an auto backup, it keeps the last 10 in there. You can have on there. If it's in there, you could install a different machine so you're not overwriting what you have. Take the database that's in there and load it in there.
Yeah.
And then export
the whole thing?
Yeah, just because. Well, no, because if not, you're going to have to be doing like SQL queries and everything. So this one, load it in there, export the package you want into an XML. You can delete all of that, and then you can import that XML into the new one. It will bring the package back. Without backups, I don't see a way to do that.
Okay.
Next question. Having moved to Azure AD and now PDQ Connect, can I still use inventory? Christina G. That's uppercase G.
Yes, but it's on-prem. Yeah, you can use them together. Why not?
So they don't communicate.
Yeah, they don't talk to each other
real well. Is that one? So, I mean, you can't at the moment that I can think of use inventory in a way that you can interact with Connect to say based on what's in here. But inventory does, as of today, still have more reporting and collection tool availability. So if you're looking for more granular with your on-prem devices, you could use inventory for that, and you could build out some complex things. You're just not going to be able to have Connect act off of based on what it finds in there.
Yeah. I guess it would be like, what are you trying to do? Like you just said, if you're so used to inventory and all the advanced functionality, you might be like, I want to do that. And you can't, but.
Yep.
All right. 2 more to go. Let's do it. We use DFS for our multiple sites. Is there a way to check which server deploy actually used? Hi-Res 2.
So I know Lex and I did a webcast on this, but I am drawing a blank if we ever solved that one. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that one.
So that's a good one to send a ticket for.
I hate giving that I don't know answer, but
you're the worst. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He's the worst.
You don't know everything?
Ugh. So send a ticket on that one.
And our final question of the day, we use DFS for our multiple sites, which is something I just read. Here we go. I have these up on 2 screens. I got confused. What's the best way to move PDQ deployed inventory to a new server and keep all deployments, collections, etc. Mike B?
So it would be similar to what we just covered with the recover an old package, only instead of when you're done deleting it, it's all just right there.
Yeah.
So just, if you're looking to do it, just hit, instead of auto backup, just do backup now. Use that database, or you can even just copy the one you have in there. Yeah. But I like having a duplicate just to be safe.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there's a blog on this.
I think it was shared in there.
Yeah, I feel like I just read that. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
there's a couple of help articles on it.
Yeah, so it is possible. Just there is a database file, which I believe is the backup location. If you come here, it's stored right there. by default. So if you go into your deploy or inventory database and just hit that, it's going to open up the location where the file is, and the one you're looking for is just database.db.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's it.
All right, we did it.
Whew. Good job.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. The chat was super active this time. I love that. We got early questions, which I love because I really get to dive in. That made my day. Thank you very much. I guess we'll see you, next week when we're going to be talking about, I already forgot, but it was an answer to one of our questions.
Better together. Smart deploy and DNI.
There you go. For PDQ, I'm Jordan.
I'm Tara.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations going out to our pre-question submitter winners, Amy Gray and Russell K., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. If you like what you've seen today, go ahead and subscribe and leave us your comments. We'd love to hear those as well. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here next week.